Hello, we're standing outside of Holy Family Church in Union Beach, and today we're going to talk a little bit about the building history, about how the building came about, and about the history of our parish. Alright, so we're on the outside. In Union Beach in the late 1920s to early 1930s, there was a group of people that petitioned Trenton Diocese to get their own parish. Now we got to remember, at that time, there was no highway, there was no two-way traffic, it was just a dirt road with a couple of cars on it. So those people decided they wanted to petition Trenton Diocese to get a church of their own, because at that time they were walking to a place in Keyport for their own worship. Okay, so this is part of what the newer church is, but I'm just going to keep walking around outside. Okay, so the first church of Holy Family, sorry about the wind, if you hear that, was dedicated in 1942. And I'm going to show you this side of the building because I want to show you something very interesting when we get inside. See that door? And a couple of windows behind those bushes? That's part of the original church. Anything that is white, a little bit below it, is the original church. So these walls still stand. So I'm going to take you inside. Love that steeple. Okay, we're going to take you inside to show you some pictures of the church. Okay, so here we are. We're inside what is now the church office. Okay. And we have this church. This church is the original building. This building was dedicated in 1942, and like I said, see the door and those two windows are still part of the original church. Sorry for the glare. Let's see if I can get a better shot. There you go. The handicap door and the two windows that are in there. So that church was dedicated in 1942. Our first pastor was Father Slattery. So let's zoom in here. We have Father Slattery. He was the first pastor of Holy Family Church. Next pastor was Father Sullivan. And Father Sullivan, the street is named in the back of the church, Sullivan Way. Then in 1941, no, in the late 1940s, they decided, or the 50s, they decided they needed a bigger church, and they again petitioned Trenton Diocese, and we got a new church. And that new church was built on top of the old church that you see today. There's Father Fox, who was the third pastor, and he was here when the church as we see it today was dedicated in 1955. Then came Father Fitzpatrick. In 1979, a lot of the changes made inside the church were made by Father Fitzpatrick. Then we have Father Mark Devlin, who was here till 2017, and currently we have Father Matthew Flager. And I want to show you this picture. We're going to zoom over here. Let me get back. This picture is a pretty good rendition of what the church looked like on the inside. You notice that there's tiles on the floor, no carpet. Take notice of the altar rail that went around the whole sacristy area. But you see up here, we still have the canopy and the Holy Spirit. Okay. And here in 1955, well, this is a little low past that, But this is the new church as we see it today. But see, there's a car on the highway and no divider, so we don't know what year this picture was taken unless I don't see it anywhere. Okay. So we're good. That's the history there. So we have to know people worked hard to get us where we are today. Okay, so now we're in Memorial Hall. Now this was the original church. This is downstairs. This originally was where everyone went to Mass until approximately 1955. Okay, and here we are. Here's the stage, or a wall. But this wall wasn't always here. The wall was pushed out, and this was a stage, and on the stage was an altar, and this is where people went to Mass. This was the original church that we saw that picture, that black and white picture of. Why do we call it Memorial Hall? Well, we call it Memorial Hall because here we have remembrances of some of the people who donated their time, donated some money, helped out with groups. Like, take for instance, here we have Holy Name Society. And these are names of people, men, these are men who belong to the Holy Name Society, who exemplified what it meant to be a Christian man. And they helped out in the parish, many activities. See Bill Smith right here. His name will come up in a few minutes for something else. And gave of themselves by volunteering in whatever way. We have the Man of the Year. And here we have Holy Family Parish. A lot of people gave memorial gifts, like when people pass away and you want to be remembered, and you ask people. Now, see, we have the name Otto. See if Otto right there. That's a very special name for me, and I'll explain why when we go upstairs. Okay, so these are all people who gave money at special times to remember people. And on this plaque, we have women who, just like the men, they exemplified what it meant to help and be part of the parish in the Women's Society, where they keep the church clean, they play the rosary with their devotion to Mary, and they do many things to keep the parish going. We remember here, we have our popes. This is Pope John the 23rd. This is Pope Paul the 6th. Pope Paul the 6th is the first pope that I remember as a child. Okay. This is Pope John Paul II, now Saint John Paul II, because he was canonized as a saint. And we have Pope Benedict. I'm going to put you on pause because I want to go in the office and show you Pope Francis. And here in the office we have a picture of our current Pope Francis. So now that I'm back in the office, I just want to look over here. We have another painting done. This house is now blue, and that is where our current pastor, Father Matthew Pfleger, resides. Okay, so you just might be asking yourself, why am I explaining this to you? Well, I think it's very important. It's like you're moving into a new home, and people who lived in your home before you, and they've all gathered, and they laughed, and they've cried, they had good times, they had bad times, and they had many meals together. Well, this is our spiritual home. And there's a lot of people that came before us, and they've gathered, and they had a sense of community, and they shared in the spiritual food of the Eucharist. So those people that came before us are all part of the history of this building, in this parish. I am part of the history of this parish, and you are part of the history of this parish. And that's important for us to remember, that we are all part of the history of this parish. Until next time.